Okay, today's guitar tuning video. And there's a little secret in here that I think most of us miss when we're tuning our guitars. And you should use a pick only because we're all pretty inconsistent when we're plucking a string. And this just brings more consistency. So, you want to use a tuner, of course. I've got a clip-on tuner on the headstock. So the string is flat. I'm going to bring it up to pitch. And I should mention, if you haven't seen my restring video, that once your guitar is strung up with new strings, you want to stretch out your strings and do it in sections. Okay. So once it's stretched and you tune it, you want to keep stretching it until it won't go out of tune anymore, until it just stays in tune. Then you know you've stretched the string as far as it will go. So it's usually flat, and then you tune the string up to pitch, right? So once you go through all that, I'm just doing this quickly so we're not wasting time, but once you've stretched all the strings and you brought it all up to pitch, great. But let's say there's a little hang up in your guitar nut, or you went a little too far with the tuner, and now the string is sharp. What we all typically do is then loosen this tuning key, until it's back in pitch. But what we miss is, because once you loosen the tuning key and you're taking the slack out of the string again, you may have it in tune with the tuner, but now there's some slack in there. So when you hand the guitar off to the player, let's say you're doing a tech job at a gig, and then you hand it to the player, and the player maybe plays a chord or stretches a note, the string's already gone flat now. So the thing to do is, if the pitch is too high, and you loosen the tuner, now go back, tune it, and then what I do, instead of stretching it all out again, is I'll give it a little bend, and then I retune it. So you're going back up again and you're staying there. The biggest mistake is to take the slack out when it's sharp and then it's in tune again. Well, great, but once you go to play it, you're throwing it out of tune again immediately. So you want to just take a little of stretch and take that slack out of the string and retune it, instead of just pulling on them again and starting from scratch, okay? So supposedly you've done that already. But so what I do is I tend to get the guitar in tune, and then I'll bend the G string, pull down on the D string, pull down on the A string, pull down on the low E string, and make sure I've taken all that slack out of there and retune it. All slightly flat now once I've pulled on it again. Okay? Now this is why I know when I've handed the guitar to the player that it's going to stay in tune. Not just play in tune, but also stay in tune. So Keep that in mind, that sharpness with your tuning key. Now I'm going to switch guitars real quick. One of the hardest things to do is tune a guitar with a tremolo unit. So it's the same thing. Make sure all your strings are stretched in sections after you've strung it up with fresh strings. Get it in relative tune. Now in relative tune. After that's done, shake the tremolo unit up and down. Not just one direction, not down or up. Shake it so it gets back in its resting place, okay? Then do each string individually. My high E string is a little sharp now. I go back, slacken the key, wiggle the tremolo. Take a little slack out of the string, wiggle the tremolo, retune it. Every time, wiggle the tremolo. Go back and do it again. And keep going through that procedure over and over and over and over again until it's in tune. Every string with the tremolo in its fulcrum resting place. So this way, when you're at least playing guitar with a tremolo, you stretch a string. Wiggle it again, it should be back in tune. There you go.